an aumakua is family guardians that Hawaiians believe that each family has. And you know, the religious beliefs, you know, on this is pretty substantial as far as many of the families that have that. They might have an aumakua that's the shark. They may have an aumakua that maybe mo'o, which is a lizard. They may have an aumakua that may be an owl, an aumakua that may be an eel.
Yes.
And so all of the families in the Hawaiian religious belief had aumakuas. And so when you take out a resident tiger shark, many of the families believe that that was their aumakua that was there. And they created an artificial food source, you know, for the shark when they built the cages. And so obviously the shark is going to look at that as breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so it's going to be coming around there. And it got too close to the divers, so they took the shark out. And so when you look at that from a religious standpoint, and which is also protected, you know, under the state constitution, that, you know, you're taking out a religious belief of whether it's one person, one family, or 100 families, or 1,000 families. Okay, the protection of religious freedom is protected not only state constitution but also U.S. Constitution. Okay, and we never make up that laws.
Right.
You know, somebody else made up those laws. So we're just saying enforce it, enforce those laws. And the cultural side continues to be eroded, you know, in everything. In addition to that, you know, where they're setting up the cages, where they're setting up the fish farms, the accessibility to those areas to go fishing is also an issue. Hukilau, for example, they're looking to establish a buffer zone around their fish farms.
What's that, like a kapu area?
A kapu area that you cannot go fish. Well, you know, for us, you know, the only ones who were able to establish that was either the konohiki or the high chief. They're not konohiki and they're not high chief. And so they're telling us that you guys cannot go over there and go fish, go gather, and that's an impact and an insult on our gathering rights. Wow. You know, these are just some of the things that we're bringing forward, and we're fighting for it. And we're making sure that all of these things are made available so that our traditional, cultural, and customary rights are protected.
Yeah.
So this is why
Hawaii.
This is why we're being very vocal on these things. And when they make the comparisons that this is just like our kupuna fish ponds, no. You know, let's call a spade for spade if we're going to be doing that.
Yeah.
And then say, if you look at your open ocean, where is the sustainability in that? Is it an ecosystem built within itself? No, not when they're bringing in fish meal from Peru via Canada down to here, when they cannot buy the fish meal directly from Peru because the fish meal they have is taking out a natural resource, a food resource from Peru, which is anchovies. And they need about 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds of anchovies just to make 1 pound of kahala. Wow. Something wrong with that picture. So where is the sustainability in that? In addition to that, you know, what kind of steroids they're putting into the meal, how they're pumping the fish up, what they're doing when the fish get diseases in the cages. You know, our kupuna knew because in the fish ponds, the fish would know how to do it because the fresh water that the fish would go to, the fresh water would start to brush off all of the disease from the mullet. Okay, because the mullet knew, and they would stay by all these aquifers that would be feeding out, and it would clean off all of the disease, the scales from the fish. The open ocean, they're putting in what? Peroxide, they're putting in all these other stuff, all these chemicals in order to kill the fish, kill the disease on the fish. So what does that do to the rest of the wild fish population?
Yeah.
Where is the sustainability on this stuff? And this is why we're speaking up and being vocal for this, because they haven't proven to us that it's, you know, sustainable and that it's pono. It's not.
So Christina, do these companies have leases with the state,
They do.
Hawaii, and they pay to lease the ocean?
They pay to lease the ocean, but it's a very small amount, and that's one of the reasons why this model of fish farming is really being pushed by the federal government and other people, because it's a public resource that they're using, and so it doesn't cost a lot. For example, Kona Blue's site, which is currently, how big is it right now? It's 90 acres, and they're paying $14,000 per year.
Wow, that's quite a deal.
Yeah.
And again, all of these fish farms are on ceded lands. Okay, out in the ocean, that's ceded lands. And
Well,
that's
not quite given lands,
You know,
kind of taken lands.
taken lands, taken land. And it's supposed to be held in trust by the state, of which the LNR is supposed to be managing this stuff. So when you do the math on the Kona Blue Ocean fish farms, 90 acres, $14,000 a year, that breaks down to about maybe $600, $700 per acre. And the income that they're generating, $3-4 million bucks a year. And they were looking to, triple that and wanting to generate about $18 to $20 million with the new expansion that they were being proposed on, of which we fought and stopped. But, of which they're saying, Neil Sims from Kona Blue saying, we're helping out the Hawaiian people because we're paying, for them and giving money to OHA. Well, try to take 20% of $700 per acre per year. It's not a lot of money, and then
I think
these
they call
guys
that chump change.
Chump change. Then these guys making millions of dollars, and I'm going, Neil, so what?